Hello viewers, welcome to the YouTube channel Lex Consilium Foundation. I am Major General Neelendra Kumar. On the playlist, going strong in conversation with Commodore Ranjit B Rai, who's no stranger to this channel. As you all are aware, he is one of the foremost military strategist, naval historian, and he held the coveted appointments of Director of Naval Operations, Director of Naval Intelligence at the Naval Headquarters, done courses abroad, and was also India's Defence Attaché in Singapore. Now today, I am not talking to him about the matters maritime or naval. I understand that he was well known to General Sundarji, India's strategist and the Chief of Army Staff. Now, I was intrigued to find out from Commodore Ranjit B Rai as to what was his connection, how did he get to know General Sundarji, and what he would like to inform, apprise our viewers. All yours.
Thank you, General. When India is a big country, bigger than it is today, and Viksit 2047, people will be doing research on the leaders of the Indian Army. I'm a naval officer, but thank you for asking me to speak about an unorthodox, brilliant General Krishnaswamy Sundarji. In the annals of Indian history, two things will be known till they are released. The papers of wars up to Sindoor, of course, which is recent, have not been released. The Henderson Books report, original, has not been released. So, through your foundation of the Consilium, people may be able to see these videos and do research, because even today, General Havelock is being researched in England and the 1857 mutiny. So I'm very happy you asked me, because I'm born on the 15th of March, beware the Ides of March. I have been through good luck and bad luck. The good luck was my term as Director of Naval Intelligence was coterminous with General Sundarji, Chief of the Army Staff. Coterminous with Pawan, coterminous of Brasstacks, and just well after Blue Star. So General Sundarji, as General Nambiar has put him, was an outstanding officer, but he was unorthodox. He was a graduate from Madras. He was highly educated. He had been to Leavenworth Staff College. He had been to NDC. He had been, of course, to Staff College, Kunur. He had made a name of himself wherever he went. And he had married a lady, Mrs. Priya. Unfortunately, she died of cancer. So, he had the experience of life with two children. He was the co-commander. But when I first met him, the first time I ever met him was when Admiral Kalyani gave a party to him and Mrs. Vani Sundarji. The party was at Moria to felicitate him and welcome him. And the first thing that ever happened, I went to Mrs. Sundarji to say, may I get you a drink? No, Admiral Kalyani asked, what drink would you like? And she said, Remy Martin. There was no Remy Martin. And General Sundarji looked at me as if Director of Naval Intelligence has no intelligence. I rushed. There was no Remy Martin. I rushed down to the bar, bought a bottle of Remy Martin and served it. And then later I learned, General Sundarji said to Admiral Kalyani, your Director of Naval Intelligence, before inviting people, doesn't find the strategy to see what is to be served. I learned my lesson. I therefore got to know him very well in this Chiefs of Staff's Committee meeting. He was very articulate. M.K. Narayan was DIB. Air Chief Marshal LaFontaine was the Chief of Air Staff, Divisional Officer from NDA. So he would always look at me as a cadet, pat me on the back, and we exchange jokes from India. I had served Admiral Kalyani twice. So he was also very friendly, but of course he was the wife. And there was a powerful man, General Sundarji, who gave his views. So I, at one particular moment over tea, said to him, Sir, I have read your thesis on nuclear matters. He looked at me. He had been in College of Combat or CNC Western Command. He had written the first wonderful explanation on nuclear India. If I can show it to you, it is right here in front of me. These pages, if you read today, they are very valid. Unfortunately, I mentioned to him, sir, I have read some of these papers in the Staff College in England, which I did in 1974. I did not know that the government had told him he is not to produce that paper. So he asked me point blank, where did you get this thesis of mine? And I said, you never release your source. It was then Brigadier later Major General Banerjee who on Curzon Road had the IDSA there. I did not release. That is the second altercation I had when he looked at me with little anger. Later, during one of the briefings, he came aside and told me, I used to speak very frankly, I can say the Navy never lost a soul. I flew twice to Sri Lanka without RAW knowing, so I was in trouble because he then looked at me and said, you think you're Casey. I was wondering what he said to me. Casey was the Director of Naval Intelligence in America. So you can see the relationship between General Sundarji and myself socially meeting. And then to my luck, General Sundarji, when he retired 1.5 years later, he had been invited to Thailand and Indonesia by the Chiefs of Defence Staff. He said, Mrs. Vani had said, we are not going to be able to accept your invitation. They said to him, you will be invited to my country whenever you come. But the condition will be you come to Singapore. And from Singapore, I will pick you up, take you to my country, Thailand. I will take you to Indonesia and return you back to Singapore. I happen to be the defense advisor in Singapore. And I got a message that Mr. Sundar and Vani will be visiting. And they would be staying with the High Commissioner, Mr. Tiwari, whose wife was son-in-law of Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. And Mr. Tiwari, High Commissioner, was an outstanding man. St. Stephen's first class first, who said to me, I don't think I'll put up a general who's slightly controversial because of Pawan and Brasstacks. These are two things I'd been with him. I'd seen him in action. He will stay with you. So, sir, 15 days with General Sundarji. They were the most wonderful days. He went from my house or our house to Indonesia, picked up by a brigadier who said to me, my responsibility. They took General Sundarji and Mrs. Sundarji to Indonesia, came and rang the bell and said, we are back. Then he went to Thailand and came back. And then he stayed with us and every day he taught my son, who's a lawyer now, military history. He knew every plant that they went to walk in the botanical garden. That man, in the evening, after many drinks, he was a man of great knowledge. I had seen in Pop Pawan, he had a Lieutenant Colonel Shami Mehta, Lieutenant Colonel M.A. and that was another brilliant man. So when I was in Singapore, I was in awe of the man. That is knowledge of military history, his way of talking, and then we discussed Pawan, we discussed Brass. But one couldn't write about it. I did write in my 2 books, Warring Navies and Indians, Why We Are What We Are. But let me tell you about him. He apologized to me when I said to him, sir, you were a little angry with me on your paper. He said the government had said, I cannot release that paper. And he apologized. Then he explained to me Bofors because my son told him, Uncle, when we go for a walk to the botanical gardens or wherever we go, you wear OG trousers. Naval officers never wear OG trousers or their white trousers. He said to him, son, I'm not a rich man. I had lost my wife. I had a TV and I don't know what got into my son who's well read. Said, Uncle, what about Bofors? Oh, he went wild. In the evening, he came back to our house and said, he told my son, ring up your father. Your father has not brought you up well. He did not make anything from any defense. He was sincere. When I came back, he told me, you brought up your son badly. I said, what happened? He said, he thinks I made money with Bofors. He went wild. He said, ring up India Today now. It'll be on record. I said, sir, my phone call is limited to be talking to India. He said, no, I won't talk long. Get me India Today. I got him India Today. I told India Today, call back. So I think the nation should know. He spoke to them and there was the story that he was happy that if Bofors could be cancelled. It's in the India Today. I was witness to it. So, General, I'm very happy to tell you the Bofors story is in my book and I can vouch for what he did. Certain other things that come to light. He bought a typewriter.
Okay.
Electronic typewriter. Computers were just coming. It had 13 functions. I did not know much. I showed him 4 functions. He said, that's not enough. Leading writer Krishnan under me knew 6 functions. Therefore, he taught him 6 functions. He took the book. He went home.
Okay.
He opened that book. And when I got home, he had mastered 11 of those functions. Then I remembered Brasstacks. When he conducted Brasstacks in Palam, he had the maps of India, Pakistan and computers with an American company. I was CNC, the Pakistan Navy, with General Sharma, College of Combat, who went on to become the Army chief. When I saw my charts, they were expanded and we were supposed to play Brasstacks. The Army played Brasstacks. The Air Force did not play Brasstacks because Admiral Taliani felt that if we play Brasstacks, we will be giving away our strategy and our tactics. I tell you, we discussed strategy and tactics. I discussed Pawan with General Sundarji. And it was evident there were too many powers of India. RAW had its own story. The Army had its own story because when the 7 or 8 LTT were caught, that is how it all began. The Army handed over the LTT to the Sri Lankan, which was very wrong. They committed suicide. And that is the day those of you who followed Pawan, LTT turned upside down against India. He tried to explain Blue Star. He was also a very interested person who enjoyed a drink. He could hold his drink, and every evening it was over drinks that we could discuss whatever subject that I wanted. The media suddenly found out that General Sundarji is in Singapore, but he was under the name Mr. Sundar, and my High Commissioner called me. He said, "You have not been careful. People know General Sundarji is here, and I'm responsible." I found the media out, and I said to them, "Do you know Sundarji is in town?" They said, "Yes, we are trying to find out." I said, "I'm also trying to find out." And my High Commissioner patted me on the back that I had gone to the media with the experience of Director of Naval Intelligence to put the media wrong, which is what Churchill used to do. He used to actually have a plan, go to him, "Do you think it is good if I did this?" It was the plan he was doing. Talking about General Sundarji, we must all talk about Mrs. Sundarji Vani. She has completed his book, and he wrote the book, The Blind Men of Hindustan. Because there's this foreigner, I forget his name, he said that India does not have strategy. When I discussed the word strategy with General Sundarji, he said, when you get married and you want to meet a girl and you want to marry it, you must find out what she eats. You must find out the perfume she likes. You must find out the places she likes. Otherwise, you will take her on the wrong food, the wrong place, and the wrong color of her. She'll never marry you. That is strategy. I can tell you many more subjects. He also said, my strategy is that I don't let my wife interfere into the service matter. She handles the social side, and she overhandled the social side, because she would say to me, "Can't you get mangoes in Singapore?" And my wife said, "They're $2 each." But that was the man. So General, I'm so happy. I can give you a few more things about him. Another thing I found about him, whenever you talk to him, if you talk sense, you could match up to his expectation, he would continue. But if at any time I was wayward or not knowledgeable about plants, he would look at me and said, "Listen, go and buy a book." So you can see that he did not tolerate people. And that was his misfortune. He expected people, his generals, his officers,
of certain matching IQ.
And one day I actually won his heart. He was from the Mahar Regiment. And one day I said, "Sir, Mahar Regiment is an outstanding regiment." I took the Mahar Regiment for exercise tropics to Andamans.
Okay.
Commanding officer Vindhyagiri. And I found the Mahars. They knew the sea. They took over the whole ship, cleaning, cooking, parathas. And when I went down to the decks, I said, "What the hell is happening on my ship? My chaps are relaxed." So I sent for Colonel Desai. Colonel Desai used to sit on the quarterdeck. He had a Jawan next to him who used to tune we were on our way to Andamans. He used to tune the radio for him. And I said to Colonel Desai, I said, "Listen, your men are making my men lazy." And he looked at me and said, "No, they know what they're doing. Your men are going to be arriving at a place and helping us land. They are teaching us what to do. Let us do the cooking and the cleaning." When I came back, the Gurkhas came. So when I mentioned this to him, he was a Mahar. I didn't realize that, because the way he talked of converting the army into the tank regiments, mechanization, I thought he was an armored corps officer. It tells you how little I knew about him till actually he came to Singapore. Because my knowledge of him in higher matters was little less. But I can tell you I learned a lot
from.
And when history is written, they will of course find out more about General Cariappa. They will find out Field Marshal Cariappa. Field Marshal Manekshaw written about General Timaya and so many other chiefs of army staff. To see the history of India, because all the wars we have fought, including Pawan, the papers are not available.
Yes.
In the Gymkhana Club, I requested Mr. Ronan Sen, because having been Director of Naval Intelligence, I saw it in a kaleidoscope form in front of me, what the army was doing. General Mehta, commanding a division, came to Singapore to take a break from Pawan. We discussed the subject, but one could not write at that time. And now, unless you have the original paper, the truth of what happened will not come back. General Sundarji, because he said, I will bring the Chokra boys back, but it took 2.5 years. He got a bad name. And therefore, I can end by telling you that this unorthodox general was a brilliant general, but luck is something. Blue Star, Pawan, Brasstacks, when India Today reported Pakistan has said India is going to war, he actually called the general DGMI, me, DI. We took the attaches to Bikaner. Tanks were going towards Pakistan. He had turned the tanks away from Pakistan. It is recorded in India Today. His method was therefore to have brass board, an exercise for all over India. War Book of India's exercise. So happy, sir. You have brought back memories for me.
Thanks.
Of my association with the unorthodox General Krishnaswamy Sundarji.
Thanks, Commodore, because undoubtedly Krishnaswamy Sundarji is known to be a thinker general, a strategist, somebody who knew military craft very well. There have not been very many like him in our history. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.